In today's video, we're talking about how the rumors are true and the Steam Machine truly is out there. After that, SteamOS 3.8 just dropped, which just confirms this thing is right around the corner. And finally, I can't believe I'm saying it, but Unreal Engine 5 is about to get really good. How's it going? It's me, Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware. And Ray is back on the channel to talk about the latest Steam hardware news with me. How's it going, Ray?
I'm doing well, man. I'm wearing Xbox Film and TV sweater right now, which
they're really pushing that Fallout show.
I don't really. Yeah, who's like what? Why would they give this out as swag to both of us? And I went through the Starbucks drive-through today, and this guy was like, "Oh, you work for Xbox?" I was like, "Yep, sure." And he was like, "Oh, that's sick, man. I was OG Xbox." I was like, "Cool, man." I was already angry because of a road rage incident that happened like 2 minutes before. So I was like, yep, just wrap this up.
I gave that sweatshirt to my wife, Kelsey. She absolutely loves it. But I just want to roll right into the first news story here because you guys know how I feel about rumors. I don't love talking about rumors. I don't love talking about leaks because lately companies have been getting a little bit crafty where information leaks out and then you find out like different sources heard two different numbers, or information leaks out and it totally changes the plans of what's about to be revealed, like we just saw with Ocarina of Time, where we heard there was going to be tons of gameplay and then we just get that little bit of a teaser at the Nintendo Direct. So yeah. I don't want to be the cause of that, but something like the Steam Machine showing up on Geekbench, that's what I'm interested in covering. So did you see anything about this? Do you know what Geekbench is?
Yes. And I've been looking over the info and I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot of very specific info here regarding the CPU and like how it handles different processes and stuff. I'm like, because you've covered the leaks. Like I'm sure you are obviously very well acquainted with what's gonna be under the hood in the Steam Machine. So yeah, catching up on all this, like the exact CPU and seeing like its speed when handling different tasks. Like this is a chunky bit of information, and like it's got me pumped up because everything that you've been talking about how the Steam Machine is like imminently like either going to be released or revealed maybe sometime by the end of this month.
Yes, I have to walk back what I said in multiple videos where I've been saying it's coming in June. It's going to be announced in June, but we're getting towards the tail end of June, so it'll be announced. There will be a gap period in which people will have time to save up money. Then it'll show up on Steam. So it might actually come out in July, but you know, I got lost in the hype. I was like, okay, it's coming in June.
I would rather get lost at like, what's the alternative, right? Like get lost in the hype. Like I'm so sick of like everyone being all down on everything. Oh, everything sucks. Like gaming sucks. Like hardware Gen 9 sucks. Like everyone's taking advantage of us. Everything's about like these live servicey games. Like let's hope, let's dream, let's get lost in the hype. And that's what's most exciting to me about reading over this from Geekbench and like the coverage of it, because like the possibility that this thing could be out in the wild right now in reviewers' hands, like that is worthy of hype.
Yes, so like the actual data, everyone who watches this channel knows I'm terrible with numbers. I did some light research. It looks like in single core, it beats the PS5. In multi-core situations, it's either like above or below the PS5. It's around the level of a PS5, but something that needs to be pointed out is the key difference is this has a discrete GPU. So something like the PS5 or the Steam Deck or the Switch 2 or the Series X, it's one chip that's handling both graphics and CPU. It's called an APU. This is just the raw CPU numbers, which when it comes to a device you plug into your TV, a desktop PC, not necessarily the full picture, not even close to the full picture, but it is exciting to see it show up on Geekbench because that means a person outside of Valve probably has it and is running it through its paces, trying to figure out the raw performance of the CPU. Now, I have to point out, because I haven't seen other people talk about it, this actually showed up on Geekbench last year before the idea of a Steam Machine was even in people's minds. It was a Valve-made device that was running Windows 10, and it actually lines up with every spec we've seen here. So Valve did test it internally and accidentally let those numbers get uploaded to Geekbench. So there is the possibility that this is them running tests again, but knowing that there's pictures of it out there. We'll just say that. It seems like this is whatever reviewer got their hands on it early, running it through its paces, and that's what's exciting here. I don't really care about specs or teraflops or raw performance numbers. What I care about is how it runs very specific games that I personally want to play. Stuff like Control, stuff like Mortal Shell, stuff like Elden Ring, like all the stuff I actually play. That's what I'm excited to see, how it actually handles those games. So I've already seen people making very pointed sort of conclusions from this data, and you don't even have half the picture. So it's interesting that there's numbers there. I'm just not interested in reading into it because A, I don't have the knowledge level, and B, we don't have anything close to the full picture. I'm literally just excited about this. Lends more credence to the rumors we've been hearing that, this thing is out there and it's in people's hands. So I truly believe it's right around the corner.
I mean, I think you're kind of onto something here, Jim. Like, yes, I love tuning into Digital Foundry as much as the next guy and watching them get in the weeds about like CPU performance, GPU, teraflops, all of that stuff. But I think we're reaching singularity here, especially on the development side. I feel like there's only so much that you can do, like when it comes to raw performance or how good a game looks. And that doesn't necessarily have a positive impact on how well your game performs. We just filmed a 2 hosts for my channel, Xbox Ready, and we talk a lot about Ninja Theory and Hellblade 2. Like, that game looks fantastic. The mocap is awesome. The facial animations are great. A 6 of 10 game at best from a lot of people. So yeah, those raw numbers, that raw performance, like top of the line, everything doesn't necessarily lead to a fun product that people respond to. But I am interested because like this is like a gaming PC in essence. And obviously like PC dudes, they love those types of numbers that you're talking about, Jim. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to respond to the Steam Machine's level of performance if it is indeed comparable to a PlayStation 5.
It's really working out for Valve in some sense because hardware is so unobtainable right now, specifically better hardware than what the Steam Machine can do. We know that 70% of people on Steam are using a 4060 or 4060 laptop, and this with its CPU GPU combo is better.
Guilty.
So developers are going to be targeting this level of hardware for the foreseeable future. So Valve kind of caught a win there as long as they can price it right. But this brings us into the second news story. You don't know this, but here on the channel, we've been talking about this SteamOS upgrade 3.8 for months now, since January, and there are some big changes coming with it. I covered it in the last video pretty granularly, like point by point. There's a new graphics driver. They've updated the Plasma architecture. I don't know how to say that. I just said that completely wrong. They updated KDE Plasma. They fixed some HDMI features. That update has worked its way down from preview to beta, and now it's worked its way down from beta to main. So that means if you're on your Steam Deck and you're not in the beta channel, you're not in the preview channel, you can finally take advantage of all of these features. The one that I think is most important is the new graphics driver. I know in the past when Valve updates the graphics driver, it gives you big performance gains in most games that people are playing. And then there will be these like random offshoot games that like 2 or 3 people are playing that get abysmally destroyed by that new graphics update. And then you got to wait for a Proton hotfix. I know there's people like that out there. It happened to me with Alan Wake 1, but for the most part, I've been testing this graphics driver update for around a few months, and I think it's ready to go. I tested it on my SteamOS PC and my Steam Deck, so I'm just excited that the people who don't want to mess around with beta or preview are getting their chance to get their hands on this big upgrade for SteamOS.
The most recent updates we've seen on Xbox have to do with like quality of life dashboard improvements, stuff like adding more like personalized groups to the homepage versus like sifting through like a bunch of curated like ads sections that Xbox puts on there, being able to take games off of quick resume or pin them forever, like having more customization on that front as well. And also like a lot of personalization to your dashboard, like having this like cool like gradient look for the guide instead of just like the solid gray, and being able to customize your colors and all that. So it's a lot of personalization, a lot of quality of life. So it's exciting to see, like, coming from that console background, Valve being able to push these fixes on a pretty regular basis. I'm pretty new to the Steam ecosystem. I'm pretty new to my Steam Deck and handheld PC gaming. But even just in the time that I've been in this system, they've been on the ball, man.
Some would say that they update a little too frequently, but I love the way Valve works. Like with the Steam controller, one of the hype features that people were really interested in is called grip sense, where the controller can actually sense when you're... So yeah, you can map any key binding or control to like taking your hand off the controller. So you can make it turn on your PC or like pause the game you're playing. But they actually forgot to ship the update that included that feature. So when the Steam controller got into people's hands day one and YouTubers were testing it out, like me, they were like, yeah, the grip sense is cool, and I've seen it in other videos, but it's just not there. And then in the update file, it was like the guy who made this feature forgot to ship it with the launch update. And then over the next week, it was like every time I plugged in my Steam controller, it had a firmware update, which involves updating the puck, unplugging the puck, plugging in the controller. So, you know, like they are pretty frequent with the updates, but I love the way they work because they'll do stuff like completely redesign the settings menu and transfer none of those visual changes over to the rest of the UI. So this new SteamOS update brings along a complete overhaul of just the settings menu. And it's like, they might get to the rest of it, they might not. You just have to wait and see if they're still concerned with working on it in a couple of months. And then maybe you'll get an upgrade that makes the visual UI actually match. And like the Steam controller's icon in most of Steam right now is the old Steam controller. Are they ever going to fix that? Probably not, but does it matter? No, it's nostalgic and cool. It's just like a really funny way that they operate. That Valve is the only one that operates that way in the larger gaming sphere.
Yeah, I think it's almost unfathomable. Like when you if you think about some of the ways that Valve goes about pushing their updates. Like if Xbox did that, or PlayStation did that, or Nintendo would do that, like they would be getting straight flamed. They would be like labeled as incompetent. But yeah, Valve seems to be really in tune with what their player base wants. So like they have a lot more freedom when it comes to this, and especially like it would be unfathomable thinking like, you know, if like Xbox, like I'm thinking about like what controller updates do they push out, like for the Elite Series 2. It's like, oh, I can change the color of my guide button. That's really cool, man. Like, let alone like forget all this talk about grip sense and like all the cool features that could come along with that. Even though out the gate it wasn't working for some people, like at least like the technology is there. That's really cool.
I just love like we've had these experiences where, you know, we finish a day of work, we go to the bar back when I was living in LA, and we're like, fuck, we forgot to make this thumbnail, so we have to run back from the bar and make that really quick. Whereas these people at Valve probably had the exact same situation, but they're like, oh my god, I forgot to ship a major feature for the controller that we've been advertising on our website for months. You know, like, so they got to run back to the office and literally ship a major feature. It's just like, dude, I love that stuff.
People were just happy to have the Steam controller in the first place. Like it was such a clusterfuck trying to get one. Like when they first launched, like people were just happy to have it in their hands.
Yeah, and going back to what we were talking about in terms of raw performance versus optimization, you know this because we've been friends for a long time, but my main criticism point, the people who catch the most ire from old Jim are Epic Games and their engine, Unreal Engine 5.
Oh man, because name a more iconic beef. Like Jim versus Epic has been a years long struggle and battle for sure.
I'm happy to report that the battle has finally come to an end. It's actually happened. This year has been really good for Unreal Engine 5. There are multiple games that have come out and performed incredibly well on the Steam Deck. I mean, most recently, I played a game called Mortal Shell 2, and I was like, it's an indie game using Unreal Engine 5. I cannot wait for this to run at 1 FPS at the lowest settings on Steam Deck. It defaults to medium, 30 FPS all day long. You get a little bit of stutter when you move between areas. I'm fine with that. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight runs immaculately on the Steam Deck. So it's already been improving, but at their Unreal Engine Summit, where they talk about all the new features coming to Unreal Engine 5, they announced this feature where the Lumen ray tracing, which apparently has been one of the biggest pain points in terms of performance, has a new version called Lumen Light that was made to make games run better on the Switch 2. And I don't give a shit about the Switch 2, but making a feature that'll run well on the Switch 2 bodes well not only for the Steam Deck, but also the Steam Machine, the Xbox Series X, and the PlayStation 5. Because if you make the Unreal Engine games cheaper to run, they're just going to run better on everything. So it's like, we've had these experiences over the past year or so since the Switch 2 has come out, where developers like Bloober Team put all this work into a Switch 2 port of Chronos: The New Dawn. Then bam, you get a Steam update and suddenly it works great on the Steam Deck. So As much as the Switch 2 has problems, we do got to thank it for fixing performance in games, specifically with Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, I can't go too hard on the Switch 2. Like, the Switch in the Switch 2, when it comes to third-party games, it's so easy to dunk on. Like, when they when they brought Overwatch to Switch, when they brought, like, any Mortal Kombat game coming to Switch, like, it's so easy to just take a massive shit on it, because, of course, it's gonna look terrible. But, like, I have to admit, you know, as a guy who runs an Xbox channel, as a guy who owns an Xbox Series S, as you can see right behind me, like, I went pretty hard on the narrative that, like, optimizing for that lower end hardware is overall good for games, good. It may be, more work for developers, sure, but overall, like, it benefits everyone. So yes, having these updates for Unreal Engine 5 performing like they are on the Switch 2, I gotta stay honest. I gotta stay consistent. So yes, I'm happy to see these changes too. I think people underestimate how far good lighting goes in games. Like, with that lumen light and like seeing games without lumen, like, it's a pretty noticeable difference, especially for people who play a lot of games. Like, you can have the best looking textures, you can have good performance, but if the lighting is off, then it's gonna look bad. I think about, like, there are a ton of games that we've seen that, like, okay, like, the art style is cool, but there's just something kind of off. And that most of the time that comes down to just weird lighting and anything that can get it to run. But obviously we know that some of these more advanced processes, so this is an absolute W to get better lighting that in a more GPU friendly way.
And for me, I couldn't care less if a game has ray tracing, big GI, lumen, nanite, path tracing. I don't really care. As long as the gameplay is fun, I'm there. So knowing that they're working on things that are going to optimize the way the lighting works, that's my win here. And anything that cuts down on the stuttering, the frame drops, the weird frame times, do that. Go off and work on that. And it seems like that's what they're finally addressing. But, as with all Unreal Engine version upgrades, this has happened before. Unreal Engine 4 had massive problems for the entire PS4 and Xbox One generation. And then right at the tail end, they put in all this work, they fix it, everyone's happy, everyone's excited, we start getting Unreal games that, don't look like Unreal slop, and then bam, we get that demo of the Matrix, we get that demo of that chick running around in the ruins.
I know,
and
dude.
What did they announce? Unreal Engine 6. So hopefully these consoles actually do get held back and don't come out till 2029, so we don't get like 6 to 8 months of decent games that run well using Unreal Engine 5. But you can't stop Epic. Can't stop Epic at the end of the day.
I forgot about that Matrix demo. That's crazy. I totally forgot about that. I think I still have it downloaded on my Series X. It's crazy. I mean, so many people are making the switch to Unreal Engine 5, like, that just, like, it's not going anywhere, Unreal or Epic. So, like, whatever they can do to figure out how to, like Jimmy said, to avoid that Unreal Engine slop look, you're just gonna have to do what you're gonna have to do, right? Like, Halo is now gonna be in Unreal Engine for, I assume, for the rest of its life.
Before we wrap up, you're new to the world of PC gaming. You have a gaming laptop. You have an Xbox ROG Ally X. Mm-hmm. Are you interested in the Steam machine?
Oh, of course, dude. Of course. Especially because
you kind of feel like the target audience for it.
Yeah, because I love my Xbox Ally X, but they're trying to fix this. They're trying to make it more friendly, like in a docked situation if you hook it up to a TV or a monitor. It's not quite there yet, right? And but that's not what it's made for. It's made to be a gaming handheld. But it would be really, really cool to have that same experience, something I could just plug into my TV or my monitor and it just works. I don't have to mess around with the settings, like match the refresh rate and the resolution to the output device and all of that. I just plug it in and it's good.
But that's all I've got, Ray. Where can people find you?
Well, my main channel is Xbox Ready. It is the three-headed dragon for Ready Media between Deck Ready, Xbox Ready, and PS Ready. I'm also on Instagram at ReadyRay with 2 Ys. My Instagram is honestly a lot of me talking anime and Avatar The Last Airbender. So if anyone's watching that who loves anime and Avatar as much as me, I'd highly appreciate it if you checked it out.
Yeah, my Instagram so far is just me glazing games I like, which is a lot of fun. I keep the shorts about Steam hardware here. My Instagram Champagne Ready. I just did a video on Halloween the game. I did another one on Lords of the Fallen 2. So if you're interested in that, both of our Instagrams are linked down in the description. But that's all I've got for you in this one. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.